What's up, y'all? I'm not going to lie to you, Spinny, man. I am still recovering from this absolutely insane NFL offseason we have had these last couple days, man. Holy shit. This is crazy.
Oh
Your
yeah,
headline says
not
it
strong
best.
enough. You're not strong enough for it, or what? Too weak to handle
No,
it, or
because
what?
this is usually some NBA shit like your headline says, man. I'm
Yeah,
not
you're
used
right.
to this. No, this has actually been 2 years in a row. Last year's offseason was crazy for the NFL too. I think it's starting to move in that direction as players, sit out more often for contracts that they want and things like that. Things seems like it's going more in the players' favor nowadays in the NFL. But episode 94, man, who do you got?
The DeMarcus Ware episode, baby. Come
DeMarcus
on.
Ware.
Even
Not we don't
though
really
I
like
don't
shout
love
out
that guy.
Cowboys, but yeah,
No, we
don't really
don't. We
love
don't.
him. Cam Jordan, I mean, don't really love him being the
Shouting out
Saints.
Saints. I was gonna say
Yeah,
it's probably even worse.
that's probably definitely worse. I think we got to go way back, huh? Charles Haley. I mean,
Charles
he's
Haley.
all time probably the best one to wear 94. He's got 5 Super Bowl rings and over 100 sacks in his career. So, longtime Hall of Famer Charles Haley.
My
We'll
boy
run with that.
Justin
The Charles
Smith.
Haley episode.
My boy
Justin
Justin
Smith, get
Smith.
out of here, man.
Come
Your,
on.
your boy, get out of here.
My
You don't
boy
even,
DN on the Niners, Justin Smith. Come on.
that's not your boy. Get out of here.
Yeah, true. He's not.
Yeah. All right. Let's hear from Jack because there's so much to get into in this NFL. All right, Harders and Hardos. The Charles Haley episode.
But before
Fetty,
that, we got some news to break before we
we
even
do.
start. We got the headlines to break, baby. College football playoff going to 14 teams in 2026. What do we
What,
think of
like,
that,
why?
Bess?
We haven't, like, I get it. Like, I kind of get it. But at the same time, it's like, we haven't even had the 12 yet. Like, what are we doing here? Let's experiment and see how the 12 works first before we just go ahead and expand it. We might
We're
have the
only going
12
to
be
have
like,
one season at 12. 12 is going to be by
that's what I'm
itself,
saying.
basically.
It's
It's
BS. Like,
wild. It's
what if,
wild.
what if, so it's this next season, correct?
Yeah.
So what if during next year we're looking at the playoff and we're like, oh, these 9 through 12 seeds or whatever, 10 through 12 seeds, they're just not good enough. They don't belong in this type of setting. But no, we don't even like wait to see if that's a
Also,
possibility.
do I want to see the 14th best team in the nation play
That's what I'm
Georgia or Bama or Ohio State?
over
Do I
half the top
really?
25. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
That's
Do I
too
really
many
want to
teams.
see that? I don't know. And I know we were all in on 12,
Right. So
but
what's
I
yeah,
actually, what's the difference? I get it. I was more in on 8 than 12 originally, but we're
facts,
just in on
facts.
any expansion from 4. But 14, I like you said, it's just going to be weird that they only went with it for 1 year. But all right, now after breaking some news, we're back on the grind. Let's get it.
More headlines. We're covering more headlines. Fletcher Cox, another Eagle, has retired. 12 years in the NFL for him. Super Bowl champion, obviously. He made 3 second team All Pros, 1 first team All Pro, I think 5 or 6 Pro Bowls. One of the best D tackles of our lifetime for sure. He made the All Decades team in the 2010s. Definitely one of the best. You never really that upset when you see Eagles players go. But salute to him, respect to him. Great career. So got to shout him out.
Yeah, Fletcher Cox is a guy that drove Vikings fans nuts for a lot of years. So credit to him for being good, and it's sad that he had to play on the team that I really
Right.
don't enjoy cheering for at all.
And iron sharpens iron, right? It makes no sense. I mean, it makes complete sense, I should say, as to why Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox are so good. They battle each other every single day at practice, right? Being D tackle and center. So iron sharpens iron there. This is interesting, Spinny. NCAA is introducing, starting next season, an in-season tournament involving NIL payouts. There will be, let me transition to my article here so I get it correct, 8 teams in this tournament. All 8 teams receive $1 million to be paid out to their players, and the winning team gets an additional $1 million, so up to $2 million in NIL payouts. What do you think about this, man? This is crazy to me.
This is going to be awesome. Like, this is one of those scenarios again where I think the top guys will be playing their butts off for the walk-ons and shit on their team, you know? So, like, it's going to
Nice.
matter a lot. You're going to get a lot of. I do think it'll motivate college kids to care more. I 100% think that. Like, the amount of payouts to players, and when you're talking about guys in your locker room that you like who are there grinding, working as hard as you, and not maybe aren't at the position that you are or the skill that you are, but they're still necessary to all your success. Like it's gonna be really fun to watch some of those games, I think.
Yeah, I'm complete agreement there. It says the money's coming from tournament sponsors and other partners, as expected. Just in case anyone's wondering where this money is coming from, according to sources, tournament organizers are in discussions with these 10 teams so far for the 18 tournament. That is Alabama, Duke, FAU, Houston, Kansas, Oregon, San Diego State, St. John's, Syracuse, and Virginia. Kind of get a little bit of everything there. Teams from all across the country. You get smaller teams, bigger teams. I just, it's weird how they're going to select these teams every year. You would imagine there's going to be no repeats, right? If each
You
team
wouldn't
is
think so.
guaranteed $1 million, like there's be like,
Yeah.
okay, Duke, you're not in this tournament every single year, so we're not going to give you
Yeah.
your players $1 million every year. At least that's how I
Literally.
hope they do it.
I hope so. Also, St. John's. Why?
St. John's, FAU,
Why?
San Diego State. Those are your smaller schools. Wow,
Uh,
that's crazy. This, though, is the craziest thing we will talk about this episode, and that is the report that came out that Aaron Rodgers might actually run as the vice presidential candidate for RFK Jr. What the hell
okay.
are we doing here, Spinny? What the hell?
Might actually run, I think, is probably an exaggeration. I think more it's like would consider it
Right,
for the clicks, you know? I don't know
correct,
how
correct.
serious. Aaron Rodgers has not been the most genuine guy about his intentions all the time throughout his history, if you wouldn't
Whatever
agree.
puts his name in the
So,
headlines, man.
exactly. So, I think it's more just for fun than anything else, but it is hilarious, really, to consider as an actual possibility.
Right. And obviously, like, if there's Aaron Rodgers haters listening to this, don't actually worry if he were to actually pursue this. We all know RFK is not going to win. Like, no
No.
independent party candidate is going to win the presidency. So it'll be fine. Just relax a little bit. But that is just, it's still crazy news that he's even like considering going down that avenue when he's still obviously playing.
Literally.
Last headline here: Dylan Cease, White Sox ace, traded to the Padres. They just continue to revamp their roster. They're always just getting stars into their organization.
Stars in, stars out, or just a
That's what I'm
recycling
saying.
facility. We're just like one
Trade the
Soto
whole,
here and Cease
yeah,
there and him here and
literally
wild.
trade the whole farm for Soto 1 year. All right, get the hell out of here. Go to New York. Cease, he's coming in. He's probably going to be traded next year. Either way, though, this is obviously a great upgrade for the Padres. Starting rotation. White Sox, they're not really playing for anything. They're complete dog water. They just want prospects. They got the 5th and 7th ranked prospects, I believe. Don't quote me on that in this deal. Bunch of guys I've never heard of, obviously. Um, Darvish, Musgrove, and Cease, though. That'll be your 3-headed monster to start that rotation. I mean, that's as good as any that I can think of.
Yeah, and I mean you're still rocking Machado and Tatis as well, so a
Xander
little more
Bogarts
balance,
still.
I think. And Xander Bogaerts, yeah.
Yeah,
So I think it's more of a balanced approach than all hitters, no pitchers.
right. So I do think they're going to be a little better this year, but y'all will have to wait 2 weeks for our MLB episode to hear more of my Padres takes. That's all we got for headlines, though, Spinny. Now we got to dive into it, man. There's been so many things that have happened so far this NFL offseason. Why don't you start us off with the trades? Obviously, by the way, listeners, we're not going to cover every single one, just ones that stood out to us. Okay, we will cover trades, extensions, and free agent signings. Spain, let's get after it.
Yeah, some of these trades, again, just out of order and old and whatever for y'all,
Right.
but we'll get to the brand new stuff eventually here. Mac Jones, the baby goat, traded, backup, Jacksonville. What do you think?
He was traded for a 6th-round pick?
Yep.
I mean, I get it. You know, you finally saw Trevor Lawrence get hurt last year for the first time in his career. You just kind of want a little more insurance. Getting a guy in there, yes, obviously we know is not going to be a starting quarterback in this league. I think we all know that now. But still,
Wow.
yeah, I'm not blowing anybody away with that
Wow.
take. But getting somebody in to your organization like that to be the backup, you always like. Guy that has starting experience. You're not just throwing a guy out there that has never played before, like we did with Jaron Hall last year, for example. So at least he has starting experience. I mean, Mac Jones has played in a playoff game. Like, let's not forget. Okay? So from that perspective, completely get it for the Jags. Obviously, the Patriots, they're drafting a QB this year. They don't care about Mac Jones anymore.
True. Jerry Jeudy to the Browns, 5th and a 6th. Browns getting another little bit of a disappointing receiver, but on the low.
On the low, Mari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, and Elijah Moore now is their top 3 receivers. That's obviously a good core. But as we saw last year, Deshaun Watson just still wasn't back to his all that crap form. You know what I mean? So I'm still having questions around Deshaun Watson, even with this increased amount of weapons. But with that being said, what has Jerry Jeudy also even proved to us either? You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't really know if this does anything to me in regards to where I see the Browns as contenders.
Seems like karma's working really well in the Deshaun Watson case, if you want my actual opinion on it. But yeah, Alabama receiver is also not quite able to get it
Hey,
done. On
hey,
classic behavior
hey!
right there.
Let's chill out.
Um,
Classic. Let's tone it back a little bit. All right, we got Julio
what?
Jones, even Amari Cooper. He's good. Come on now, Devontae Smith. I mean, I could keep going. Come on.
All right. Okay. I can let that
Just that
midosity
class.
continue.
That class wasn't good, obviously. Henry Ruggs and
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy. Yeah, we disowned them.
Yeah, they're a little disappointing, but okay. Next, one of the biggest trades, Brian Burns from Carolina to the Giants to finish off Carolina's L-taking spree
Oh my
in the
God.
last year
Yes.
and a half.
What the hell? This is the worst owner I can think of in all of sports. This guy doesn't know what he's doing, Spinny. Like, he seriously has no idea what the hell he's doing. Here we go. Listen to this, Hardee's and Hardos. So, what they get for Brian Burns, who is a monster, by the way, for those that don't know who he is. 2024 second-round pick, 2025 fifth-round pick. That is it. For those that forgot, last year, by the Rams, they were offered a 2023 second-round pick, a 2024 first-round pick, and a 2025 first-round pick. 2 firsts and a second. They end up accepting a second and a fifth for a 1-year rental because they couldn't reach a long-term agreement. Spinny, can you believe that? Like, what are we talking about here? If someone
If
is
you're
offering
not,
me 2 firsts and a second for a DN, and I'm that trash of a team, I know I'm going to be bad this year, I'm accepting it instantly. I don't care how talented he is.
or the self-awareness just isn't there because apparently the
Correct.
only way you don't accept that deal is if you for sure think that you got the long-term deal
Right.
locked up that you want. And apparently the owner thought that and then was not correct. His interpretation of Brian Burns and his interpretation of reality was not correct. And they were way farther off than he thought. And he had to sell him for pennies on the dollar, which is tough. A nice upgrade for the Giants, although
Oh,
he's going from one losing team to another. So I
right.
don't love it
Giants.
for Burns either way, but
Listen to this pass rush now, Spinny. Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and Kayvon Thibodeau as your main
Yeah,
three. That's nice. That is actually nice
that's
to look at it
nice.
there. It gets worse though, Spinny. This Panther stuff. It gets worse. So combine the Brian Burns, Bryce Young, and the CMC trades. All three of them. This is the whole haul. The Panthers traded pick 101 this year, as we know. Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore. They traded a top 10 pick last year. They traded a second round pick last year. They traded a 2025 first round pick. What did they get in return for all of that crazy amount of assets? A 1-year rental of Brian Burns, Bryce Young, an outside linebacker, DJ Johnson, who is PFF's 125th graded edge rusher, 125th, Spinny, and 2 fifth-round picks. That is what they got in return for all that. I'm not even shitting you.
Wild. Absolutely wild, huh? Crazy
Sell the team.
mismanagement.
Sell the team.
I mean, yeah, we'll talk more about this situation later, obviously, but just makes even more sense for our former quarterback to go to a division like that where
Right.
there's a lot of dumpster fire ownership and coaching going on.
Right.
Okay, Joe Mixon thought he was cut, said jokes on you, he's not. Gets a 7th from the Texans, going to the Texans from Cincinnati.
Love this for the Texans. Obviously, Bengals are just getting whatever they possibly can instead of letting them go for free. Why not take a 7th? Texans, though, young team. Their rush game was absolutely brutal last year. I mean, we're talking Devin Singletary was their best rusher. Like that, I mean,
Yeah.
like he was literally their best running back. So now you add Joe Mixon to a young receiving core. You got Nico Collins, Tank Dell. You got CJ Stroud looking as legit as ever. This team just
Dameon Pierce
continues
still
to
on the
thrive.
squad too, right?
Yep. So Dameon Pierce
So
will be the
that'll be a
backup
nice
there.
change of pace between those two.
Yeah. So I don't know about you, Spinny man, but this Texans team just keeps continuing to looking up for me.
I mean, that's I think their goal. You know, they maybe were a little too early last year, and they're going to hopefully try to build on that. Next trade, another Panthers trade. Deontay Johnson and a 7th to Carolina for Dante Jackson and a 6th.
This does absolutely nothing to me. Panthers are
Nope.
terrible. I understand they want another weapon, but who cares? Like Bryce Young's going to actually have. He needs time. Like their
Yeah.
investments this offseason should be O-line.
Yeah, I mean, Adam Thielen can't be your RB or your WR1
Yes,
either,
that's fair.
So
Yes.
I mean, I think it was a good pickup getting another guy that can actually get a little bit of separation, and the Steelers just trying to get some depth back there at corner. Last and probably most man, words are hard this afternoon. Most tantalizing trade offer. T. Higgins requesting a trade from the Bengals. Who should go for him or who is going to go for him? Bus.
So honestly, a lot of the teams I feel like that are going to be going for him are kind of your bottom feeder, your current bottom feeder teams in the NFL, because those are the ones with the cap space, right? If he wants this big contract, he's going to have to go to one of those teams. Obviously, he can't really decide where he's going. That's not what I mean by that. But just think, like, I'm trying to think, like Cardinals. Obviously, there's speculation they might go Marv at 4 if he's still on the board. But still, I mean, Hollywood Brown's a free agent. Marv would be literally their only receiver then. So I could see them going after T. Higgins. And then you got T. Higgins and Marv. That'd be nice. Jags, they let Calvin Ridley walk. Yes, they signed Gabe Davis, which we'll talk about a little bit, but obviously Gabe Davis shouldn't be your one. I don't know if they're really confident Christian Kirk being their one either.
What?
Oh my God.
Come on. WR1 game.
Don't troll me. Stop trolling me.
Playoff touchdown god Gabe Davis. You're not in on him? Playoff performer, Mr. Clutch, Gabriel Davis?
Just stop, please.
Come on.
Honestly,
Plus it's just bad bottom in fantasy.
The one good team I can think of that should go after this guy is the team we were just talking about, and that is the Texans. You got a rookie quarterback on his cheap deal. You got young receivers on their cheap deal still. Joe Mixon is not going to be getting paid that much. I don't know what his contract is off the top of my head. But T. Higgins, adding him to that would be a nasty trio of receivers for CJ Stroud to throw to. So Texans should be in the
Agreed.
market for him for sure. Is that about
Agreed.
it?
And
That's all you can think of too?
yeah, especially like you got 4 more years of Stroud on that cheap deal, so you can sign Higgins to a 3 or 4 year deal, and then by the time you're signing, by the time Stroud's extension kicks in, Higgins is off your books anyway, so
Right.
it just fits the
Yeah.
timeline really well for them. Any other trades you want to discuss, Bus, before we move on?
Those are the bigger ones. I'm sure there was a bunch of smaller, irrelevant deals, but let's go to extensions now.
Chris Jones, 5 for 95.
Highest ever for a D tackle, I believe. That's a lot of money, Spinny. I mean, we're talking almost 20 mil a year for a D tackle. Obviously, this guy's the best in the game right now. Fully deserves this contract. He bet on himself last year, right? And it worked.
Yep.
He balled the hell out. He won a ring, and now they lock up their most important piece on the defensive end as they try to go for the three-peat. So I love this for the Chiefs.
I love this for the Chiefs too. Obviously, their most impactful player on defense. Also, I might have misquoted the total deal. Did you have the total deal for Jones?
It's more than
Because I
95
got
mil.
yeah, I got 5 for 158 with 101 guaranteed.
Oh, yeah, that must have. What I must have down was an initial, I think, because then. Oh, yeah, yeah. It is 95 mil in guarantees, but there is a 10 mil signing bonus, I believe, or whatever, 6
Okay.
mil, which puts it at 101 in guarantees.
Okay. But then five, so 158 is total if he does play out the contract. But
Correct.
yes,
Yes.
101 in total guarantees. Okay. Sorry, Hardies and Hardos. Just wanted to be on the same page about that one. But yeah, Chris Jones is one of the most impactful pass rushers in the game. You got to pay him.
Yeah. I mean,
Landon Dickerson, Eagles, 4 years. I think it ended up at 87 million. Highest in the history of the NFL for a guard.
that's a shit ton of money to pay an interior lineman. Holy shit. Over 20
I
mil a
know.
year for a guard. I mean, that's like tackle money right there. But he's, basically the best in the game, so I get it.
That's wild, though. Good for him. Leonard Williams, 3 for 64.5 with Seattle. I love his fit in Seattle so far, so I knew this was coming.
I knew this was coming too. They'd be complete idiots to not resign this man. They traded. I mean, they invested in him at the deadline, right? They had to give up picks just to get him. So obviously, you're going to want to resign a guy like that.
Baker, 3 years, 100 mil, 50 guaranteed, worth up to 115 with some incentives for the Bucks.
I mean, you had to know they were going to do this, right? I mean, he brought them to the playoffs and got them a playoff win. So why wouldn't you resign the man? I mean, I'm not the biggest Baker Mayfield guy, but shout out to him, man. The way he has turned his career around. This dude was on like 4 teams in one calendar year, and now he's getting the bag. Like, respect.
Also,
You
like,
don't guys do that where they plummet down. It's rare that they come back up.
a lot of maturing for Baker, which is huge credit to him. He's
Facts.
become what seems like a good leader. But at only 50 million in guarantees for the Bucks. So if they
Right.
draft a guy and there's someone better or whatever, they can get off that pretty quick and move on, pivots another direction. Another wide receiver extension. Michael Pittman with the Colts, 3 for 70, 46 guaranteed. I feel like the Colts had to do this. They have to keep their only weapon that they've had for the last, seems like ever, but definitely
Right.
at least the last 3 seasons. And I don't mind 46 guaranteed, only basically 15.3 guaranteed per season. Given the current wide receiver market for a guy like Michael Pittman, that's not bad.
Yeah, that seems about what he's worth. That's pretty on par for what I believe he would be worth. And obviously, with your rookie QB, you need to keep that receiver in the building. So I completely understand this contract.
Especially a big body guy, type of receiver that
Right.
Richardson really likes.
And now, especially with Shane Steichen, Spinny's guy from this past season, go get Richardson more weapons. and let's see what this
Yeah,
offense can do.
facts.
All right, now we're going to dive into free agent signings. Interesting note here. Let's just start with this before we even dive into specific signings. Spinny, did you see that the NFL is looking into the Falcons and the Eagles for tampering in regards to their negotiations with Kirk Cousins and Saquon Barkley?
Let's get a third round pick swap from the Falcons. I'd love to see that.
Is that actually what happens?
There has been some history of that. What
Oh,
was
that'd
that?
be
The
sweet.
Niners? It was fourth round picks. In the
Mm.
case of in the past, but yeah, there's been some pick swaps, some forfeiting of picks. It'll definitely be something related to that if they are found guilty of tampering.
Interesting story to follow for sure. Let's start with all the Vikings news though. Jonathan Greenard, 4 years, 76 mil, 42 guaranteed. Young edge rusher, formerly on the Texans. Andrew Van Ginkel, 2 years, 20 mil. He came from the Dolphins. Blake Cashman, 3 years, 25 mil, also came from the Texans. Sam Darnold, 1 year, 10 mil. Aaron Jones, 1 year, 7 mil. And we also restructured Harrison Smith to keep him around. We've been busy, man. We have been busy. Spinny, give me your thoughts about these moves. Which one stands out the most? Which ones you don't like? All your thoughts. What do you got?
Love the defensive revamp. Jonathan Greenard,
Alex?
love, love the 26 to 30 years old, basically his whole prime that we're getting him for here. Guy who I really had a standout year last year, 12 and a half. Before that, I think his sack high in a season was 8. So we're hoping, there's a little bit of risk here on what we're betting on, but we're betting more on the standout season from last year. Andrew Van Ginkel, really fast side to side, grades well in PFF. One of those guys that can rush the passer and drop back, kind of really a hybrid linebacker, somebody that Flores will use and has coached in the past.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Blake Cashman, fun to see the hometown or
Yeah,
University of Minnesota kid come back. So that'll be really fun. Again, he had a standout season last year,
he's
really
from
really
Eden
good.
Prairie, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not
He's
100 on
he's
that,
from the
but.
cities. He is from Minnesota as well. So
So another breakout season last year, had over 100 tackles. I think kind of his first
wow.
real good NFL season. So again, a little bit more of a risk, but a hometown kid who did break out. Darnold, best we could get. Obviously, we know he's a C plus quarterback at best. So hopefully, the guy we draft beats him out right away, and we can go with that. And then Aaron Jones, love that pickup. Really cheap running back. We obviously needed a guy that's more productive there. Even if he gets hurt, we still have Ty Chandler and a couple other options in that backfield. So loved it.
Completely agree with all your thoughts. Let's backtrack a little bit to the Darnold thing. Spinny, we're picking a quarterback in this draft, right?
Yes,
All right,
I
Hardies and Hardos. All y'all out there can just chill the hell out. I saw too many people on social media, not saying specific friends or family of mine, just people in general, Vikings fans in general, bitching about this deal. Oh, why the hell would we get Sam Darnold? Is he really going to be our quarterback next year? He's not going to be our quarterback. You pay him that much money because there's a chance he's going to have to start games, right? There's a chance the rookie's not ready. There's no shot we're running into next season with him, Jaron Hall, and Nick Mullins as our 3 quarterbacks on the roster. Quessy is not that stupid. KLC is not that stupid. I trust that they're going to
I
pick a quarterback.
if they do that, I will be severely disappointed, I guess.
Same.
So I don't see that as a possibility either. I do think Sam Darnold could start the whole season, especially with the talk of McCarthy or May needing a
Right.
season to chill out. So that could definitely happen, but we're definitely drafting a quarterback. There's just no
Right.
scenario where the moves we've made where we wouldn't do that, especially in this deep of a quarterback class, which might not be the case next season.
Exactly. Thank you. All right, let's get into it then. My headline: Kirk Cousins leaves the Vikings to go to the Falcons. 4 years, $180 million contract with 100 guaranteed. Like we said from the get go on this pod, man, he wanted that 100 mil guaranteed. He wanted it. Obviously, he gets a little more long-term security here. But this 4-year contract's even front-loaded. 90 of the 100 mil comes in the first 2 years. So very actually friendly after the first 2 years for the Falcons. If they want to get off it, it's going to be pretty easy to get off it after these first 2 years. So obviously comes with some risk for them. 36 years old coming off an Achilles. That's pretty risky. But this is a team that has been starving for a quarterback. Oh, weird. It's almost like they could have just paid Lamar Jackson. Anyways, that's a different art. That's a different story.
Yeah, we're not going to give Lamar 200 guaranteed, but we'll give Kirk 100 and 180 total. You're not going to give the guy who just won the MVP of the league for the second time? Okay, gotcha.
It is.
Just wanted to remember.
Yeah,
for sure.
I just had to bring it back up. But yeah, now they can actually see what they got with Pitts and London and Bijan, right? Like it's kind of hard to tell what you have with these guys when you got Desmond Ridder as your quarterback. You know what I mean?
And not to tell the whole audience they did a bad job, but they also got another receiver on the roster with a trade from today. Rondale Moore traded to the Falcons for Desmond Ridder. That was to the Cardinals, so that was a swap this morning as well. So more weapons for Kirk.
They even signed Darnell Mooney as well. So they have two down the field threats in Rondale Moore and Darnell Mooney. You got Drake London and Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson. Plenty of people throw the ball to for Kirk. What do you think, man? Are you sad? What do you?
A little sad.
I mean, we focus on the Falcons here, but
yeah, I'm gonna be sad to have to watch Sam Darnold or a rookie quarterback throw it at Jefferson and miss him by 1,000 yards every other play. But yeah, other than that, I think it's good. I'm glad we're going young and trying to move forward and build a young roster. I think that makes sense given the age of our receivers and everything we've built on offense. I 100% get that. I just think it means we probably won't be very good this year, potentially last in our division.
Which, I mean, next year having 130 million cap space, who cares if we're bad, right? Get a top pick plus have all the cap space. Like, I almost would rather prefer that. I know it's NFL and no one actually just tanks. No one just gives away the season from the get-go, but I wouldn't actually be upset if we were bad. So shout out Kirk, man. I loved you the whole time you were here. I'm sorry half our fans absolutely hated your guts for no reason, literally at all. You were a stud. In my lifetime, the best quarterback we have had. So thank you for everything.
The second best quarterback in the history of the franchise. And if you want to argue that with me, no.
He is.
Because Brett Favre doesn't count. Brett Favre doesn't count.
No, he doesn't.
And the other option is Dante Culpepper, and I would take Kirk Cousins any day of the week.
Yes.
Yes. Dante might have been better pre-injury, but career versus career, Kirk definitely is better than Dante.
Yes. And Tarkenton is the only one is better. You're referring to,
obvious Hall of Famer, yes.
Yes. Just making sure. I mean, we were going to pay that money, so it is what it is. I get
Correct.
it. Go chase your bag, Kirk. Daniil Hunter also left us. We kind of just switched players basically with Greenard. He goes to the Texans. 2 years, 49 mil. 48 of that is guaranteed. 24 mil a year for this guy, while we got Greenard for basically 10. So I get why the Vikings weren't trying to do that. We paid him one year, 20 mil-ish last year. He wanted a little longer deal. So I get it, going for 2 years. But I saw that he's from Houston. So this makes complete sense to go there. And they obviously need the pieces on defense. And like we've said on this episode, as a team that just continues to rise.
Again, love this deal. They're totally okay doing this because, again, it's on the Stroud timeline. 2 years from now, they're still not going to be paying their quarterback jack crap, so they don't care about 48 guaranteed. I love NFL teams still won't do fully guaranteed contracts. Jimmy Haslam's the only one ever to get it. It's just like a thing that the owners got so ticked about him doing that fully guaranteed deal that even now they'll always just leave at least $1 million or $2 million off just to not do a fully guaranteed deal.
It's ridiculous.
Wild.
He's going to get whatever that $1 million incentive is. Like, a guarantee he's going to hit it.
Yes.
So dumb. Shout out to you, Daniil, too. One of our best defensive players we've had in the last 6, 7, 8 years, however long you spent here with us. You were a monster,
Another
and this past season was so much fun to watch. He was the man possessed this last year.
another guy in the line of great Vikings pass rushers, both in and out of our
Yep.
lifetime. If the Vikings organization can do one thing, it's develop wide receivers and develop pass rushers, and
Fact.
or go get them in the case
Yeah.
of Kevin Williams and Jared Allen and that whole era. But crazy, and I think that's why the winning percentage has been good for the franchises. Those are two very important positions in winning in the NFL. We just can't get the most important one right. So
Right.
that's why I think we can never push her over the top.
Hey, man,
So,
this is our year. This is our year. Come on. Positive vibes.
all right, all right.
Speaking of that position, Steelers attempted to answer their need there by signing Russell Wilson to a 1-year deal, just $1 million. There, he's obviously getting paid $30 million+ from the Broncos this year. What do you think about this deal, man? Because I honestly don't know if it does anything for me.
Russ is better than Kenny Pickett, and I will die on that hill. I do
I can't
not
disagree
think
with that.
that
That's fair, yeah.
Kenny Pickett's. I think Russ's production last season was a good amount better than Kenny Pickett's production last season. And I think that Russ will be better in an organization like Pittsburgh where they're not going to put up with the crap that he did in
Right,
Denver. And if he does, he'll be gone, and it's Kenny Pickett anyway. So
right.
I like this because Kenny Pickett has not shown me that he will ever have the ability to be a competent starting NFL quarterback.
I am completely with you on the reasons from the Steelers' standpoint in terms of Kenny Pickett just sucks. So, like, why not get this new face in there? I'm going to zag a little bit, though, because I just don't think Russell Wilson has it anymore. So, I just don't think this was the right answer. Not that there was like a Patrick Mahomes just out there available for them to grab. But this just seems like they're going to be what they were this year. They're going to go 9-8 and make the playoffs maybe and lose right away. They're not going to this raised their floor, but it didn't extend their ceiling. That's the best way to put it.
Agreed. I
Okay.
agree with that. I'm
Okay.
with you.
Running backs. Holy shit, did they fly off the board?
Woo! Lots of running
So
backs,
many
lots
of
of
them.
money.
Here we go. Lost my spot here. DeAndre Swift to the Bears, coming to our division, 3 years, $24 million. As a Vikings fan, I don't like that because he's obviously the best running back they would have had in the last. I'm trying to think if anyone's been better. Maybe Montgomery was obviously solid when he was there. Other than that, like he's probably immediately the best running back they've had in the last 5 to 8 years.
Yeah, we got to go back to Matt Forte, I think, to be a
Right?
guaranteed better
Yeah.
running back than Swift. So, again, Swift's just an injury thing. I think he would have got paid more if he had been
Facts.
healthy consistently.
Facts. Tony Pollard to the Titans. 3 years, $24 million. Man, he should have just took that money from the Cowboys last year because now he's getting paid less and he's on the Titans. So that's tough for him.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they'll be that good, but it'll be interesting to see how good he is.
They're going Will Levis? They must, right?
Yeah, unless they're going to take a QB, they're at 7. They're at 7, I think.
Yeah, they could, I guess. They could actually. Um, Pollard, I mean, we'll get to Calvin Ridley. We'll talk about that in a little bit. He obviously went to the Titans as well. So they are getting weapons in there for whoever their quarterback is. Jacobs to the Packers. Another running back we don't really want to see join the division. For a while there, everyone was like, holy shit, Jacobs and Jones in the same backfield. This is going to be so fun to watch. And then, like, 2 hours later, they released Aaron Jones.
Yes. And now Aaron Jones.
How much
Uh,
is. Okay, let me ask you this. Assuming he's healthy, I know he struggled with injuries last 2 years, Aaron Jones, right? But assuming he's healthy, how much better is Jacobs even than Aaron Jones, though? Like, is there
I think
that much of a
Jacobs is
difference?
better than Aaron Jones.
Like,
I think Jacobs is
clear
better
cut
than Aaron
better?
Jones. Yeah. I also think that Jacobs' availability
It's definitely better.
consistently is better.
Yeah.
So that's part of the contract is I don't think they're worried about Jacobs getting hurt because he really hasn't been very much. Um, talent for talent, everyone was on the field 16 games. I think Jacobs is better, but it's probably not that drastic. Probably not as drastic as the contract numbers would say.
Yeah, because I mean he's getting 12 a year compared to 7 for Jones.
I
It makes sense. I
Josh
mean,
Jacobs did not deserve 4 years, 12 a year, I guess, for me personally. I get what he did
no,
last year
I
was
know.
absolutely wild, but it's hard to see him being worth, you know, even at the top of Saquon's contract, Jacobs is still more. It's hard for me to see that
That's what
value
I'm
in him.
saying. Yeah, I'm with you there. They definitely overpaid for him. Saquon, the next one, went to the Eagles. Jump ship in division, 3 years, 37.5 million, worth up to 46.75, with only 26 of this guaranteed. It's a little wild to jump from the Giants to the Eagles, given how much the fan bases hate each other. But I mean, it makes complete sense from Saquon's perspective. He's trying to get off that shitty organization and go to where they win. That's all he cares
Yeah,
about. Like he's actually said that from day one that he only cares about winning, and he's standing on that now. What a perfect fit, though.
yeah. And Saquon did get 12 and a half a year. His deal was 3 years
Right?
compared to Jacobs' four. So, I mean, that was part of the money differential as well. But I love it for both sides. Saquon's a great running back. He's going to fit in that system super well. They love throwing to their running backs. They love getting them open with the read option situation and screens and being creative. And Saquon's going to absolutely eat that up, especially when he's going to have Brown and Smith and not have two
Yeah.
guys on him every single play.
Can you imagine the RPO options?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Oh, am I handing off to Saquon or keeping it myself and running myself? Jalen Hurts. Oh, am I going to throw it to AJ Brown darting across the middle of the field instead? Like they're going to have a lot of things they can do with that offense. It's going to be scary.
Sadly.
Derrick Henry. Talk about perfect fits. Derrick Henry goes to the Ravens, 2 years, $16 million contract worth up to 20 mil with 9 of it guaranteed. This is you look in the dictionary for perfect fit, you will see Derrick Henry on the Ravens. Like this is going to
I
be
just
amazing.
I just don't know how you stop the Ravens. Because like you
You
cannot
don't.
tell me they couldn't run the ball 4 times in a row and get 2.5 yards every time, every single play, no matter what you did. Like it's just not fair, really. With
It's
the
not
O
fair.
line as big as it is,
Yeah,
and now Henry who gets 3 yards by tripping and falling down, and like I just they're gonna be on they're not gonna have a third down over 3rd and 3 the whole season. They're not gonna
seriously.
have a third and medium even. Third and shorts
How,
only for the Ravens.
especially with how good Zay Flowers was right away as a rookie.
I know. God, it's gonna be nutty.
Two-headed monster Isaiah Likely came in at tight end. I'm saying Isaiah Likely came in and was a boss in Mark Andrews' absence. You still have Andrews. Like, man, they are going to be a nasty team. That's for sure. As I mean, that's not a bold take. They were just the regular season AFC champions.
Yes,
So
true.
Austin Eckler, last running back to the Commanders, 2 years, $11.5 million. I mean, worth the risk here. Obviously, he had a brutally bad year last year, but it's still worth the risk from the Commanders' standpoint. I mean, you're getting a pass catching back on your team for your new rookie quarterback. I like it personally.
Nice security blanket for a rookie quarterback in Austin
Cheap deal
Eckler.
too.
Like,
I mean,
yeah. So I like it for the Commanders. I wish Eckler would have gone to a winner, but I get it.
right? Yeah, I agree. Two receivers. Gabe Davis to the Jags, 3 years, $39 million, worth up to 50. This is too much money to pay Gabe Davis. That's my opinion on this.
Big game Gabe? Come on. My guy, Big game Gabe deserved all this money.
So for
All that.
one game he gets
All
this.
yeah, 13 million a year is worth it for those big games, baby. That's all you need him for. Big game Gabe doing his thing.
I just want you to know his AAV of 13 mil puts him as the 23rd highest paid receiver in the NFL. He is not a top 25 receiver in the NFL. No
In
shot in
in
hell.
big games he's top 15. So that's all that matters. That big game
Well,
upgrade, he goes to
the
30 from 30 to 15 in the playoffs. So
Jags
that's what
ain't
matters.
playing in no big games, bro. They can't even make the playoffs.
They're about to. The Prince is
Oh,
back, baby.
oh, we're going 14-3 Jags again next offseason?
We might.
Oh
We
my
might.
god. Oh my god. Calvin Ridley. He left the Jags to go to the Titans, as we mentioned earlier. 4 years, $92 million contract with 50 guaranteed. Again, that's too much money for Calvin Ridley. But I mean, on the flip side of things, if you have to pay him the 92 mil, that means he's actually playing all the games and doing well. So like, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's kind of whatever. Because 4 for 50, I mean, with how he used to be, obviously he was solid last year, but he was very,
Yeah.
very inconsistent. But 4 for 50, I mean, I feel like I'd pay that to Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, even right now, I think you got to take into consideration as well the extra 15 million he's getting from his bet on the minus 1800 on the Titans. So you gotta account for that as well in the money process. So it really was a great deal for Calvin Ridley. He got overpaid.
No,
Sorry, he got
I'm crying.
overpaid in that. So
I'm
shout out to
crying.
him.
Oh, you did not just say that. That
It
was so
also was
funny when I saw that.
plus 1800, not minute, but
Yeah, plus
the joke
1800.
still
Yeah.
hit.
Can I roast the Titans for a quick second here?
Do it up.
Isn't it funny that since they traded AJ Brown, literally since that moment, they have been trying their hardest to replace this man when they could have just kept him, just paid the man and kept him. Traylon
Literally
Burks
just paid him and
didn't
kept
work
him.
out. Now you're paying Calvin Ridley, who's 29 years old and has, he's played one season in the last 3 years.
And
Like
has never been as good as AJ Brown ever.
never, ever.
Oh,
It's just funny how the easiest way to quote unquote replace AJ Brown is just to keep AJ Brown. What a weird
and
concept,
and if
right?
they would
Keep
have kept
passing
him
there.
then, they'd be paying him less right now than they are paying Calvin Ridley right now. So
Literally, that's what I'm saying. Like, makes no sense. All right, last one here, Spinny. Christian Wilkins, a guy I was praying the Vikings could get. Then I saw this contract.
21
4 years
mil
of
a year guaranteed.
again, going back to the Chris Jones talk. This is hella money for a D tackle. Hella money. 4 years, 110 with 84 guaranteed. That is a lot of money for Christian Wilkins, but he is a game wrecker. This dude is legit. Obviously, the Raiders need interior defensive line. They basically only got Max Crosby out there on the edge. That's basically all they got on their D line. So it's a great ad for them, and they obviously have the flexibility cap space wise to pay a guy like this.
I think this is a huge overpay, in my opinion, for the impact that I like. Chris Jones only got 20 extra million guaranteed here. Um,
All right,
obviously
good
it's
point. That's a
less,
good point.
but like, I don't think Christian Wilkins is a good D tackle, but I don't know if he's that top 5 to 10 pass rusher like Chris Jones is. So that's why I don't hate this deal. He's a great player. I just think for what he does and how he plays, it might be a little bit of an overpay by the Raiders.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. I like that. All right, Spinny. That's all we got, man. It's been a wild off season. Still
And we
more to
didn't
come.
even come close to getting all of them. Pat Queen to the Steelers. That was another in Division One.
Leonard
Um,
Floyd to the Niners. Xavier McKinney to the Packers. Just before we started recording, DJ Reader to the Lions.
Joe Mixon 3 year extension with
Oh,
Houston. 3 years, 27 mil, 13 guaranteed for
okay.
Mixon.
Interesting. Eric Armstead today also went to the Jaguars. Uh, yeah, so like Spinney said, Bobby Wagner, the Commanders. There's a lot more of interesting deals that we did not cover. Spinny, these guys are still out there available. Mike Williams, after being released from the Chargers. Tyron Smith, former left tackle for the Cowboys. Justin Simmons, hard-hitting safety, released by the Broncos. Chase Young is still a free agent. Jadeveon Clowney, Devin White, Tre'Davious White, Xavier Howard, Hollywood Brown, Jamal Adams. I mean, there's some names out there still.
That's so many names, honestly. Big names that probably want more money than their current play style is worth. Also,
Facts.
former Commander receiver Curtis Samuel just signed 3 years, $24 million deal worth up to 30 and includes 15 guaranteed. Do you know who it's with, Bus? If you don't, I want you to guess.
Curtis Samuel, who could use a little speedster like
Three
that?
for 20, 3 for 24, worth up to 30, 15 guaranteed.
Is this a? Can I get the hint of? Is this a contender or no?
It is.
Oh, oh, Bengals,
The Buffalo
Bills. Okay,
Bills, replacing Gabe Davis with Curtis Samuel, it seems, in that WR2-3 role there.
okay, interesting. All right, Harris Autos. That's episode 94. Charles Haley episode. Demarcus Ware, Cam Jordan. Those two bums too. I'll say their name one more time. That's it. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. We got March Madness coming early next week. March Madness episode. We have special guest
Let's
Wade coming on, who is
go!
notoriously the best ever at bracket challenges. So
Which
you got to make
is,
sure you tune in for that episode because he's going to be spewing
Wade will
knowledge
tell us
everyone
his
really all to
secrets.
pick. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he's not going to tell us all of them because he still wants to win this bracket, but he's got to reveal some of them to us. And then we got MLB coming later this month. Things are looking up, man. We got a lot of
Two guests for that. So,
two guests for that. And then by that time, we're nearing the NBA playoffs. A lot of good content coming up for y'all.
as well as episode 100 coming as
Ooh.
well very soon. So, lots in the future to see and find from us. So, check us out, like, subscribe. Thank you all for listening. And let's get some balloons on the way out of here. Yes, sir.